Okay, you, Hexham TV? Yeah, all shot. Right, welcome to Hexham Town Council's meeting of Monday, the 13th of October 2025 at 6 o'clock here at Priors Hall in Hexham Abbey. Welcome from me, Derek Kennedy. I'm the Mayor of the Council. We'll do the first things first. Item number 2, public participation. We don't have any members of the public here today, so we pass on that. 3, apologies for answers.
Yeah, Nigel Porter and John Ward.
Thank you. Any disclosures of interest? No. Any dispensations? No. Okay, right. We are now going to go to. Yes, we are. So yes. Just before we go to item number 7. I'm very sad to inform the council, and I'm sure you've seen it over social media and in the press, that Stan Beckinsale, who was one of our honorary stewards and bailiffs of Hexham Town, unfortunately passed away at the age of 90 something. Stan has been a stalwart of Hexham's life. Played a great role in Hexham Abbey, and he had some. He was a writer of so many books. It's incredible. A big. He was interested in geology and rocks and all those types of things. So I think, as a mark of respect for him being a honorary steward and bailiff, I was honoured by this town council if we could take 1 minute's silence. If you could all stand, please. Thank you so much. So we'll now move to item 7, where we received a presentation from the Environmental Agency and represented, and a presentation from Colin Hall. And this is about the flood resilience for the community, and a recently recruited Flood Wardens, who I think we all may recognise. So I shall hand over to Colin. Colin's going to do just a 10-minute talk or so, and then we'll have 5 minutes of questions, etc. So, welcome, Colin. Over to you.
Thank you very much. So presentations, but yes. So as I said, my name's Colin Hall. I have spoke here before, so a few people might recognise me. And we have had several flood wardens in the past, sort of other people who've volunteered. But thank you for letting me sort of speak again. The whole point is to try and sort of revamp that sort of volunteer recruitment and sort of plan that we have in place to try and sort of bolster the resilience of Hexham community to possibilities of flooding. So as you'll all know, sort of Hexham does have risk of flooding, so that could be fluvial risk, so from the Tyne or from several of the burns. We do have schemes in place, such as the one that was finalised in 2023, sort of protecting Tyne Mills and Bridge End. And we then also have sort of our trash screens and things like that on the Cockshaw burn. But this is like a belt and braces approach, basically sort of looking at the resilience of the community. Sort of, obviously we have defences in place, but defences are only sort of built to a certain sort of level. They are built to a good standard, but every once in a while we get reminded that basically we don't own the world and it's Mother Nature's. So basically it's to try and sort of use your help today, to ask for your help to either, if people wanted to volunteer to be a flood warden, or to use your means to sort of get out to the community to try and recruit some more wardens. What I would say is we already do have a robust contingency plan in place, which is still up to date and everything like that. We have a new lead flood warden. He hasn't turned up in his ermine garb and his robes and things like that. He doesn't get them, I'm only kidding. Yes, so it was Trevor Cesspit in the past, but Trevor's since stepped down, and John's agreed to step up to the role as lead flood warden. What that means is, and one of the big huge points of sort of the community having their own sort of flood group, is your community benefits from earlier forewarning of potential flooding. The Environment Agency, sort of, and this is unique to the North East, we offer what's called a flood advisory service. So when we know that there's going to be a band of adverse rain, sort of weather that could actually come across and sort of impact a community or impact an area, we have what's called fast telecons. So we have flood advisory service telephone conversations with the likes of sort of the local authority, the fire service, Northumbrian Water and such. And what we do is in the North East, we've brought in the flood groups to have the same sort of to receive the same sort of early forewarnings. There can be low confidence, there can be high confidence of the impacts basically of this forewarning, but it allows your community to be better prepared. It also allows you to be prepared for possible surface water events. The reason we don't issue this to the general public is because we need communities to act accordingly. So if we issue this to the general public, we'll have Mrs. Smith in number 63 sort of waiting to be evacuated on the fact that we've sent an email or we've had a phone call sort of a day and a half prior to sort of something actually happening, or something may not happen, and she hasn't acted accordingly. Contained within the contingency plan, basically we have measures and we have actions that the flood group would take, and that would be geared up depending on basically what's actually happening. The benefits, as I said, of the flood advisory messages are you get that earlier forewarning, but you're also getting the only sort of warnings that we possibly can give for surface water. So at this moment in time, we don't have a means to let communities know basically if there's going to be sort of potential a flash sort of thunderstorm event that could sort of flood your community, like what happened in Blythe in October last year, when we had over 100 properties flood there. That was purely a surface water event. Everybody looks at drainage and things like that, but drains are like rivers, you only have so much capacity. So what it means is when we send these messages out, John and the other volunteers can get out, they can check some of the drains, and then they can get in contact directly. All the sort of the duty numbers and things are linked within the plans for civil contingencies, for the Environment Agency, for Northumbrian Water, everything's sitting there in the Northern Power Grid, and they can sort of have a look and they can get in contact and alert people and let them know. They also have a direct link through to the Environment Agency. There's a number dedicated only to the flood groups, actually straight through to the incident room for the Environment Agency, that allows those sort of one-to-one conversations to either report or to gather information. Again, the reason why the general public don't get that is, I'm not picking on Mrs. Smith, but she'll be phoning to say that sort of her garden's wet. Well, if you're having a big sort of rainfall event, everybody's garden's wet. So again, it's about sort of having that trained response to it. As I said, we have the contingency plan in place. We have that sort of ready, but we do need to bolster the numbers. Hexham is a big, large community across Northumberland. You're not unique to the only community to have a flood group in place. So there's 31 across the whole of Northumberland with 164 volunteers. But this time it's me to speak to Hexham basically and see if we can get the numbers up. So yes, basically this is what I'm after. I'm after sort of people to sort of either volunteer or sort of to give us a means to sort of attract more volunteers to be able to enact the plan should it actually happen. It's not a time-consuming role. It's basically, you are a volunteer, so you put in as much or as little as you want. There is a certain level of training, sort of an understanding that you would have to have, that we would supply basically on understanding, sort of receiving messages, understanding the flood warning service, which again is separate to the flood advisory service, and then understanding the role. And then it's just a case of making sure the contact details and things are up to date and making yourself available if you are, if there's a flood event occurs. You're still allowed to go on holiday to Marbella, Riviera and things like that. You're still allowed to go to the restaurant and have a couple of glasses of wine. But you don't have to change your lives completely, but you just make yourself available if you can. It's not the same as like a Red Cross volunteer or anything like that. You're a volunteer that would sort of help your community if needed, which 9 times out of 10 people do anyway. If you have a big snowstorm event, or you have a flood event or something like that, people come out and try and help. What a plan and an already sort of tight-knit group allows is basically we allow sort of people to not be faffing on for those first couple of hours trying to find out where they can be of use. They know where they have to be, they know who to get in contact with. It's already sort of happened. Basically, you've got a plan in place. Do you have anything to say, John?
Well, I find that if you've got the lead warden like myself already in place, it makes it a lot better for getting volunteers, because then they know they don't have a responsible job. They know you're not looking for someone with responsibility. They know that anything that's going to happen during this event, there'll be somebody coordinating that from either their home or out on the streets, and all they might have to do is something dead simple like go and check on all the elderly on your street just to make sure they're alright.
Yeah.
And if that's as much effort as they want to put in, and then they message me to say I've done that, then that's great.
Yeah.
We know that's one less thing to worry about, and then I know where I need to put my efforts elsewhere, where I need to send people.
Yeah. We're not looking for duty heroes. We're not looking for people to go wading into waist-high flood water or anything like that. We're looking for eyes and ears on the ground and effective lines of communication between sort of yourselves as a community and the partner agencies, ourselves, Fire Service, Northumbrian Water and stuff like that, so we can be better prepared for potential events.
I'll put my snorkel away there.
Don't go to the flood water is minging. Don't be going sort of in the flood water. I spend a lot of time in schools telling kids not to go into it. But yeah, it's as simple as that. The hard yards are already done in the fact that the plan's in place. And it's already there. I've been out personally and door knocked a lot of the at-risk properties. You have 5 flood warning areas basically within Hexham. That tells you the risk that you've got. You've got places named like Hoff Lane Industrial Estate, which is Old English for floodplain. So you've got pretty much floodplain industrial estate. So there's lots and lots of areas that are at risk, and I don't want to sound like a harbinger of doom, but we don't want to be shutting the gate after the horse has bolted. We want to be prepared. It's the same sort of analogy for fire and sort of security from theft and things like that. You just put a few things in place and you have it ready if needed, but you don't have to change your entire lives. So, is there any questions or anything like that? Is that sort of brilliant?
Right, thank you. I'll bring in.
Yeah, if we were interested or knew somebody who was, are we best to get in touch directly with you, or can you share contact details?
I can share contact details, and you can come through myself. You all seem to know John as well, as the lead. I'll give him a job to do. But yes, if you are sort of interested, I'll leave my contact details before I go, and just either email or phone or something like that, and let me know. That's great.
Yeah, I've said what we'll do is we'll do a big, we'll get the e-posters and the links to their websites, and we'll do a significant broadcast on our.
I'll supply everything, we've got ready-made posters, everything like that.
Penny?
Yeah, so have you got an ideal number that you want, and are they geographically within those areas or anywhere in the town?
Ideally, with the geographical sort of response would be great, because then it will be easier to cover. We'd also like people to be going out in pairs and things like that, obviously for health and safety reasons. But as I said, it's a volunteer role, so we get as little or as many as possible. I mean, if you look, for example, in Otterburn, there is only 4 flood wardens across Otterburn. But they have twice. Sorry, am I taking time?
No.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to go ahead. So in Otterburn, there's 4 flood wardens, but on 2 separate occasions, they've actually had the river levels come up, but they've also had power cuts and things at the same time. So we send our flood warning messages out electronically. They've then basically not been able to receive these because they sort of because obviously the power's down and the phone signal's down, but because they were a formed group, they were receiving the flood advisory messages, which is separate, prior to that, and then they were already sort of prepared and geared up for that, and then they've since on both separate occasions enacted their plans, and they've been able to get out there and protect communities by sort of putting aqua sacks, sandbags down and things like that, alerting sort of the businesses, the mill and sort of the Le Petit Chateau and such. That's just a couple of examples, but there's lots and lots of this going on. It's all about that just earlier sort of heads up and being able to sort of act upon it.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Sorry, Stephen,
I'm a flood warden from the sins. Just on the stuff that you send out, we've got Hexham Community Centres, an emergency refuge centre in case of catastrophe.
Is that the... Sorry, okay, I'm not from Hexham. Is that the Wentworth? Is it also?
No, it's the one with the big sign that says Hexham Community.
As you come in. The only reason I would say is because that's actually within the floodplain as well.
It's up a hill though. That's going to be a mighty flood.
Right, okay. Just, I might be getting wrong, but sort of obviously sort of it would be just a little bit, you'd have to be dynamic with it, I would say. Sort of, it would be the Northumberland Council that would operate it anyway, wouldn't it? And they would be dynamic upon where. But yes, it's within the plan, as you'll have seen, sort of, it's got, there's a wording from the County Council Civil Contingencies Unit that says basically they will open and operate basically the rest centres and reception centres.
And there's all, I mean, the people most at risk are elderly people. There's a lot of elderly people past the just names of, but where the tannery is.
You came with me, didn't you?
Yes,
at that one time, yes. So we've got they've got a plan themselves for that, and that's contained within the plan because they're right next to the Cockshaw burn, and obviously sort of you've got a lot of people at risk. They do have several sort of measures in place and things like that for floodgates, but obviously they've got to be alerted to actually install those floodgates prior to anything actually happening.
Yeah. Biggest problem I found is debris in the burn itself. So I've contacted the helpline a number of occasions, but where the totem poles are, that's where it gathers. That's the first sign of a problem in my view.
Yeah, it comes down so sort of fast. And flood risks changing now. We're seeing sort of now, I would say sort of, because this is the nice part of my job, I like coming out and doing these sorts of things, but also so we all have incident roles, so we all sort of, I go out during floods as a flood incident support officer, so, and also post-flood, where I'm like Sherlock Holmes trying to figure out basically where the levels got to and things. And I've been attending more surface water events and sort of flash floods basically from sort of smaller water courses over the last few years than I have your big sort of event. We did have Storm Babette on the Corket and the Wansbeck sort of in 2023, but I've been inundated more with surface water events like your Blythes and sort of Warren Mill, Acomb basically, where you had the properties at Garden House Bank that flooded in May, where the levels actually came up half a metre in about 15 minutes.
Half a metre?
In about 15-20 minutes. So this is what we know. We talk about climate change. The climate isn't changing and the climate's changed. So this is what we're actually seeing now. So that event there in Acomb, actually we were looking at Tanner's Row, and basically that's where we were expecting it to drop, and then it suddenly switched round and then dropped over the Berkey Burn, and that's when it came round. So it is really sort of difficult to sort of stay on top of these things, and this is why sort of if we work together, we can sort of be better prepared. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a catch-all, but we can definitely be better prepared to sort of limit effects.
Any more questions? I'll just make a couple of observations. So I've been up with the council like 20 odd years, so I've seen like quite a lot of flash flood storm events. We haven't had any note in recent years, because we've had several where Waitrose is at the bottom of the Wentworth and basically underwater because it's down like a little bank.
Yeah.
They've been flooded like 2 or 3 times over the years that I can recall, where just the water just like went straight into the supermarket, because basically the whole car park acted as a sieve and just flooding the water down. Certainly I recall down at the Tannery pub in and around there, that was a significant event many years ago. I remember that as well. But we haven't had any big surface water ones. It's certainly in the recent years, which is I think we've just been fortunate to say it just depends on where the main dump is.
So that's just hopefully it's never needed. So hopefully we have a plan in place and it's never ever needed. You hope you'd never need your smoke alarms, don't you? So it's just that. But unfortunately, sort of in certain places, it has been needed. Blythe were caught on the hop, and now Blythe Town Council have a dedicated sort of contact addresses and things like that we would contact, and then they have a system where they have their own plan, and then they have an umbrella system of plans basically for sort of vulnerable areas, basically that they then enact. That's the approach they've chosen to take. It's completely unique to yourselves, and I'll work with sort of you on however you would like to do it. But I just wouldn't want you to be like a Blythe and then caught up, because 100 properties is a lot. And it's not nice when you're going in there and somebody's basically got a week-old baby and they're having to sort of leave the house and things.
The 2 major storms I recall, one sort of knocked all the water pipes next to the Hexham Bridge. There was a big boulder that smashed into the water pipes, and the whole of Hexham was knocked out, so we didn't have any running water for so many days, and that was pretty catastrophic. So that was 20 years ago or so. But there has been 1 or 2 down at the industrial estate.
Storm Desmond and Time Green, places like that, and that's what led to us putting the scheme in, basically Time Mills and Bridgeend, and then obviously it was the scheme at Time Green as well.
I hear what Stephen said, and a lot of what I see with the surface water is blocked gullies and grills where the vegetation builds up, and there's a few places in town, certainly Tanners Burn and further up where I am, where the burn starts, they get blocked up pretty quickly, and I'm wondering, do you have many of those the buzzers fitted to places where when the water level gets so high they go off, so it tells you, is that are they in use around here?
Yeah, we have we don't have it for. Do you mean within drains for surface water, or do you mean on the rivers themselves?
On the rivers themselves.
Yes, we've got telemetry. So you can go and have a look on the .gov website. It's called River Levels Online. You can just go on and it shows you sort of basically the forecast. Actually, Hexham's has a forecast on the main Hexham gauge. That's on the Tyne, but we do have telemetry on the Cockshore Burn and the Tyne as well. So you can go on there and you can have a look. All those links are contained within the plan, and we have QR codes attached and things like that, so you can actually quickly just get onto it. But yeah, you can have a look. The highways are actually looking, the piloting at the moment, using sensors within drains as well, sort of in the most problematic areas, and sort of putting them in so they can then be alerted sort of when levels are coming up. But it's a pilot at the moment. It'd be good if it sort of comes into fruition, but there's a lot of drains out there to put them in.
Very good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
And if you could just contact the clock with the e-post and the links, we'll do a broadcast.
I'll send my details on and then I'll give you all those posters and things like that. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. 86, which is minutes of last meeting. So our last meeting was on 8th of September 2025. I'll just go through each of the pages. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, 5. Are you content that I sign these as a record?
Udo, just one note.
Yeah.
The electric green event.
What page is this?
This is on page 5.
Page 5?
The date of the electric green event has changed to the 29th. So it's just been changed.
Yeah. Thank you. Good. Good. Alright. Our next item is to approve an investment strategy. Do I hand over to you, please, Tom?
Yeah. So this is strategy that's gone through F&GP, but because it's a policy of the council, it just needs approval from full council. In terms of investment strategy, it's not what we spend our money on, it's where we put our money whilst we have it in our possession. So it's where do we put it in terms of banks or other investments. And the key advice from that we receive is that we need to keep it liquid so that we can spend it should we need to, and we have the responsibility to get the best return on it whilst we have it. It's also unlawful to borrow money just to invest to try and get a return. So the strategy that's put forward tries to balance out all those requirements, and the key aspect of it is to try and keep the minimum that we need in our current account and to put any excess in the CCLA account where we should be getting a reasonable return on our investment.
Do you explain CCLA?
So CCLA it's a public sector deposit fund, and CCLA stands for, I can't remember what it stands for now. It's the Churches and Charities and Local Authorities Fund, I think. So it's an investment that was brought together by those groups. So it fits all our other kind of investment requirements in terms of ethical investors, having reasonable long-term and UK focused. So so the plan is to review what we've got in our current account, each F&GP, and to have a dynamic decision in terms of how much we need to either draw out of that current account or put back into the current account from the CCLA account. So we'll have that either putting in or drawing out at each F&GP meeting, so that we've always got monies drawn that we need, or that we're getting the best return for the money that we don't need at that particular point in time.
Fair as chair, would you like to offer any words of advice or encouragement to support this strategy?
No, I mean it's great. We've talked for a long while about the fact that our money's not working hard really for us. So this is a really good step forward, because, as Andrew said, it means that all the money we've got currently just sitting in a current account is actually going to be earning some interest. And it's really flexible. So that if at the F&GP we decide we need some money, that's more or less instant. We haven't got to wait 6 months to be able to draw it out, for instance, like you would with some accounts. So the F is great.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any questions?
Yes. Did you say that it's an ethical investment?
It is.
Yeah. Good. I think that's very important. Thank you.
Yeah. So the CCLA is the Charities and Churches and Local Authorities.
10th of investment fee. I worked for a charity that if it went above a certain level or fell below a certain level, it was done automatically rather than wait for a meeting that might be another 3 weeks. Is that possible?
It would be good, but no. No, that would be a really good way of doing it, but it's not possible. If it was within the same institution, it would be easy.
It was before. The one that I used, I just moved it from one account to another.
Right,
the same
yes,
bank.
that's right,
But
which
that's
we
not the
can't.
case.
No.
Right, that's fine.
But what we do need is more councillors to be signatories,
Yeah.
both for the current account and for the CCLA account. So that's something that will be instigating at the next F&GP, but certainly if people can let me know beforehand, I can get the paperwork out to you so that you can be a signatory.
It's
So
not very
quite
onerous.
low.
It's quite, isn't it? It's not an onerous task, so it's.
How many ideally do you want?
Well, we've only got on the current account. We've only got 3 at the moment, which is, you know, if anybody's on holiday and somebody else isn't picking up their emails, then we can't spend any money, which is really nice. Well, we can spend money, but we can't authorise it. So we could do with another couple on there, and we could probably do with the same number on the CCLA one as well.
It would be useful if it was the same people, would it? Or are you not?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's for different things.
Yeah.
For the CCLA one, we just need those people. We need two of those people there at each F&GP.
Right.
But it's any 2 from any. The current account is, you know, you get an email saying, can you approve these payments? I mean, it works really well. I mean, because Faye and John are really good at doing that, but you know, the burden should perhaps be shared, and we can't necessarily rely on the same people, and we shouldn't do it.
So when we talk about a good return on your investment, that's simply on deposit accounts, isn't it? So are you looking at, I don't know, 1.5% below base rate, or what is a good investment return?
Well, it's standing about 4% at the moment, I think.
That's reasonable.
It's pretty good.
Which is above base rate.
Yeah.
Not close to base rate. Yeah, so it's worth it. Yeah, it's very much worth it. Grand, so any more questions?
Assuming that we agree to this, how long will that take to put in place?
Well, we should be able to instigate it all at the next F&GP meeting, which is on the 22nd.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Good. Any more questions?
Do you want names for those signatories now, or?
I mean, it would be good if people are happy to
People
put themselves
forward.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Did you have a say
Oh, that's good. Good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll take a vote on approving this annual investment strategy. Okay, those in favour? Thank you. Good. Thank you. Well done, Faith. Driving that through and everybody on F&GP. Good. Good. Right. So to receive an update on Hexham's potential development sites, which seem to be endless. Suzanne, any update on middle school?
No.
None. Any update on bus station? Well, we did have, we haven't had any on bus station.
There's a bit of antisocial behaviour going on at the moment in the Rotary, so that's been flagged up to the antisocial team, the police, and planning to remind them, so they all get CC'd in, and so that everyone feeds back to DISOT, and they already made it secure, but it's been broken into again. Now they're worried it's a fire risk, so that's an extra add-on. So I've asked it to flag up to the fire services team as well.
Thank you.
Can I just say something on that? So my neighbour at the allotment, his house backs onto the rotary, and he's taking photographs of the interior, and actually, I don't know about fire risk, but it's in danger of collapse because you can see the light. This was taken from inside, all the wall has fallen, the internal wall's fallen, and you can see the light through. So I think it's probably just a general danger.
Yeah, going there.
Yeah, and we don't want anybody to be crushed by rubble.
Well, they've been warned enough, so they
Yeah, but something needs to happen to that site. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's good.
Yeah, we've brought it up at the meeting, the NCC meeting, didn't we, Kelly? The fact that it's owned by Dysart is just a way, basically, of the council just washing their hands of it. That's what was very apparent. We really put the pressure on, and it's just, oh, well, Dysart are asking too much money for it, therefore there's nothing we can do. And it's just, you know, crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to ask the question, and basically up to the county councillors, I don't know if you can ask this question or answer it, is that even if a property belongs to somebody else, they have a duty of care. You know, witness the chimney falling down on Polestar Bank. And so even though Dysart, you know, there seems to be some sort of standoff going on, can the county council not demand that they make it safe?
Yes, they did last time with the antisocial behaviour that happened at the beginning of the summer, and they secured it, and they thought that was enough, but it's happened again. So it would, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know there's a relationship to the health and safety executive as well.
Yeah.
So everyone's bought in.
I think we should push all of those things.
Yeah.
Conceivably, Andrew could write to NCC and ask them to serve an urgent works notice on the building, which you can serve on a list of building, any building in the conservation area, to make good any deficiencies.
Can you copy that to all councillors as well then?
They do it on private houses, don't they?
Sorry.
They do it on private houses. If somebody's tiles have fallen off,
Yeah.
and it's a threat to somebody, the county council goes in and effectively does it and then charges them.
Yeah.
So the council can do the work, get a charge on the building,
Yes.
but it can also be used as a way of spurring an owner on to actually doing something or moving it on, which is what you want to do with this.
Good. Right, you agree? Yeah, can everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Sensible, very good. Yeah, thank you, brilliant. Toilets, any news on that? That seems to be toilets.
They've ignored both mine and Andrew's ask for an update on the wetland toilets.
There has been some publicity about all the toilets being improved elsewhere.
Yeah.
I have stated that there's a commitment for all of them to be.
Yeah, it came up in the last
Upgraded
full
this year.
council meeting as well. Was one of the.
It's dragged on, isn't it? West Road, I was at the Hexham Hub, and there was mention there that was that it's being marketed, which I think we do anyway, but what does one tell us about it? Police houses, I don't want to repeat myself from last time, but well, there's a plan come out where they're going to, I was quite surprised at this actually, they're going to retain the houses that are currently there, so the footprints that they're on at the moment, add a small number to that, so you'll still be retaining those 3 and 4 bedroom houses with that generous green space plots, with some additional units to it, which is I kind of just think like what a waste of 8 years, to be honest, if those being just, you know, everybody being thrown out of them essentially by the police, and then just them like sitting there for 8 years and then saying actually let's rebuild what we've already got. It's like, what a waste of 8 years that was. So that has to be welcome, because obviously that will go back into our housing stock. So let's see where that goes. Obviously there will be a planning application going through our planning and infrastructure committee when an application comes through, and obviously the town council have its opportunity to comment when that goes through. So let's keep a watchful eye on that. So I don't think that'll be long now. Union House, Anything to add to that? Nothing?
I went to Councillor Sessford to ask him, on behalf of the Civic Society, who asked if the site could be made secure by the Fire and Rescue Service following fires. Where was the fire recently? There was a fire over in a building for sale over in, was it Sunderland or Middlesbrough?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So it's to
Shotley
keep it
Pub.
safe while it's for sale, because there's a worry that also could happen. So the Fire and Rescue Service have been notified to keep an eye on it.
Can I just add to that? Because my wife uses the torch centre and they came out one night and the lady she said could see kids were actually inside it smashing stuff up. I was just afraid to confront them, and I'm thinking that's just an accident or a death waiting to happen. Just right to them to say we need to make it safe.
So they were actually inside the building?
Inside, yeah. And they were like, at the point, you think you should do something. And they said, actually, I'm just going to mention it here.
So it's probably 3 meetings ago when we did our letter to Councillor Hutchinson. Have we had a response? It's worth sending a
Councillor
Horncastle, sorry.
It came via the paper, didn't it?
Well, it's not really appropriate, is it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't, but you did comment on that.
What do we want to...
Well, I think we should highlight the continued vacancy of it. You know, his response in the newspaper has been that it's not something that the local authority can get involved with. It's for the private sector to do, even though there's funds available for the private sector that aren't available to the public sector. So if he thinks that the public sector is going to be able to pick it up, I'd be surprised. You know, it's unless it
the other way around.
No, he wants the he imagines the private sector are going to take it on, but unless it gets sold at a significant markdown, the economics are pretty unlikely to stack up unless you get public sector ownership, public sector drawdown of funds through something like that. Historic England or what's the other one? Homes England. Yeah.
Right, very good.
So you contact them for the 79th group gone into admin?
Yeah.
So who would put the site safe then? No one.
Well, they've got administrators.
So we contact the administrators then?
So the administrators did, you know, they are marketing it, and it's been on, had a couple of viewing days. So some people have gone and had a look at it, like hard.
Yeah, but who would be the trained to make the site safe then?
The administrators.
Are we able to do that?
Yeah, shambles again at the Hexham Pub. You know, I've expressed my disappointment with the progress. They reiterate that they are planning to finalise by early November, which is only probably 3 to 4 weeks away. Obviously they had originally said October. I still, you know, I've highlighted again my really disillusionment at how this has been handled as a project. Both myself and Councillor Suzanne Fairless-Aiken had asked for the project to start in the February, so they could do the deconstruction and then get on with the construction in the early spring. But we thought that was what had been agreed, but we didn't start the work until mid-May.
After the election.
After the election, which was very, very suspicious in my views. So obviously that was 3 months lost in performing that work, and we are now suffering the consequences of that, because obviously they're going to finish in October and then it's delayed because of pigeons and I don't know why they just couldn't put netting up to stop pigeons if that was the problem. But obviously, and then there's obviously the impact on our events season, because there's like Spook Night in October, and we always use the marketplace as part of the event there. and then obviously the knock on to Remembrance where the soldiers march through, and then eventually you're getting into late November when the Christmas lights switch on, and that's always been the overspill. So hopefully, you know, if they stick to the early November, the whole place will be cleared off. There's been letters of complaint gone in by the traders and the market trader, the Saturday market, the Saturday farmers market traders as well. You know, that they've lost some 20 to 30% of income, and it's just, I think for what is really a very, very, very small project, this has been handled very poorly. I think you look at what was done in 2024 when the £3.5 million was spent on the High Street Heritage Zone, which was, I thought was managed very, very well, and delivered on time. We were kept abreast of all procedures. We had multi meetings with them, both as a town council and multiple with the county councillors. This hasn't happened on a very, very small project that should have been quite easily managed, and has caused more disruption than like you said. I'll bring in Suzanne.
Yeah, basically everything we asked for has not been right, whether it's the times that we asked for rising bollards, we asked for parking spaces to be given over at the other side for pedestrian. Nothing we asked for has happened, and it's hit exactly the worst period in the year, the summer and the autumn season. So it's not only that, you know, that the impact on events, obviously these are traders' livelihoods here. The cost to us for the Christmas lights, if it calls out again, is about £500. So I'm tempted to send a bill to NCC for that. I think a gesture of goodwill to the traders would be that the roads are closed off for the Christmas fairs for free, and at the very least, and there's a letter that we've signed from that to Samson for that. And what was the final thing? The final thing was that the car park itself, I don't think needs to be done until January. I think once they finish the shambles, that could wait until, and I think that's something else we could ask for possibly.
So myself and the clerk, we had a, we were, I mean, I was totally confused by the communication by the county council. So we went through that today and just to go like, right, what do you think? What do I think? So we understand the messaging is that the county council is going to finish the shambles, the building, and the car park by early November, and that the date of the 24th of December is only contingency. So that is what we, is that what we came to that conclusion?
That's what we surmised from
It is not written well, because, you know, nobody should need to like have to speak with other persons just to go, what do you understand? That just shows you poor communication.
Well, then it was in the paper that the road was shut and got really upset. So it's not, it's only the bit in the middle.
So Stephen.
It's literally the shambles.
It is.
Is it not a procurement problem that the contractors were given the contract up front, you're going to get this amount of money, and then when something more lucrative came along, they disappeared and used that as an excuse? I think it was wrong in the first instance, and you draw comparisons there, Chairman, of the initiative around doing the town centre heritage money. That had a definite deadline. You don't get the money until then. These people got the money regardless of when they finish.
I mean, I'm a contract manager, a project manager. So if you will look at this, I think this is a tiny project. It
is the tiny
project. You know, and the job. I mean, if you look at the shambles, what did they have to do? Take the roof off, take the tiles off, replace the woods, put the tiles back on, which they're just about doing. They're doing something to the base, which is just to straighten that out, which is not a lot of work, is it? Really, it's not a big piece of work. And then to reorganise the car park. So it's not a massive piece of work. I think, personally, I'd put it down to poor contract management, poor contract management by county council,
I agree
just to
with
say,
that.
get this done. And if things such as pigeons nesting, that should all be part of your risk management, where you go like, actually, I'm not going into nesting season, so how do I manage that? Oh, I'll put 10 quid's worth of netting around there to stop it. This is just simple stuff. Penny, were you in?
Yeah, I mean, it's partly referring back to the conversation that you two were having. I mean, I think that we need to get a bit cross about this, really, because although it's on one, you know, we laugh about it, but it's called the shambles, and this is a shambles, has been a shambles. But actually, lots of people have lost lots of money,
Yeah.
and we have no idea how many people from the farmers market have, well, how many have stopped coming altogether. I mean, I've noticed that there are stalls that are not there, so what are they doing? Have they gone somewhere else? Will we get them back? Or have they gone bust? I don't know. But it's so unnecessary. I mean, if there'd been a disaster, fair enough, but there wasn't a disaster. And I think that we have got to be really clear that if by the date in November they haven't started and finished the car park, they are to leave it alone until January. We cannot have a project of that size running basically right across the whole summer and the autumn and winter, when we are doing, you know, we do such fantastic things for the town, and some incompetence is getting in the way of that. And it's just outrageous. So it's not, it's actually, I don't think it is funny because it's ridiculous, but on the other hand, it is bordering on criminal. Our county council potentially is putting people out of business because they're incompetent.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to be insistent about the car parks.
Yes, and the roads closed.
So Tom, bring Tom in.
I agree.
Yeah, I work in the construction industry and I deal with contract administration day in, day out. And the kind of errors that they're making, they're kind of schoolboy errors. You know, you wouldn't expect a student straight out of university to be making these kind of errors. Really, really basic.
Absolutely.
And really poor. And I think we should use our general collective voice as town council to apply as much pressure as possible to NCC over this.
I think so. What I suggest, I mean, obviously, you know, I've been really not very nice to them. To be honest with you, I've been thoroughly frustrated by the whole effort. But I think once we've got so by our November meeting, which is in a month's time, they should be finished or close to finishing. And I think at that point, I think we should write a letter from the town council to the county council to express our thoughts, you know, the length of time, all the impacts on everybody, you know, just gather some evidence and go like this has been like thoroughly incompetent, and they use pigeon nesting as an excuse is like the worst excuse I have ever heard. As you say, it's schoolboy errors. It's, you know, you would just net it off.
Yeah, it's just that simple laughing.
Yeah, it's just simple child stuff. And we'll just take it from there, I think. Feel.
Yeah, can we just write earlier though about the road closures, because that's going to be too late to us to do those.
The road closures, compensation for the lights potentially,
Yeah.
and the car park being delayed until January.
Can we do
Those are the
that
big
earlier?
three asks that the traders and us are asking for.
Well, can we do that? Right. Okay. Could you draft the name?
So road closures, compensation for the lights, and
The car park being delayed, part being delayed until January.
if it's not completed by
Yes,
November.
yes.
Yeah. So if you could draft it up, let me have a look at it, and then we'll make sure everybody gets to see when it gets issued. Right. That's right. Sorry.
Just to note that because it's highly visible and it's a shambles, I think we ought to put something on our town council Facebook page to say this is everything that we've raised, this is everything that's happening,
Yeah.
this is the deadlines we've put in place, and this is what
Yeah.
you've done, Suzanne, this is what you've done, and this is what Andrew's done. Because I'm getting,
Yeah.
I'm sure we all are getting loads
Yeah.
of questions. But you can say, well, look at this is what the town council's been doing in the background, so we get some visibility on
Yeah. Well, we could make it an open letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Psychopath. Suzanne?
No, it's gone well. It's all
Gone
good.
well?
All good there.
Very
Thank
good,
you.
very good, very good. Railway buildings and water tower, nothing to report on that one.
They fixed the door, haven't they? Door's now attached. So you can't, people have broken into it.
So there's been nothing back off the Arch Co contact?
No. No, I did manage to speak to the company, and they give us two names. They have a letting agent and a asset agent for the site. I've emailed both of them on a number of occasions, but not at all.
West End Methodist, nothing to report. Rob's building and Beale site, nothing.
We did have an email about West End Methodist, just
Did we?
yeah, just saying that the sale was, they were progressing in terms of preparing the site for sale.
Right, okay, all right, we'll keep an eye on that. So the Robs and Beale site, there's nothing to think. Roger,
Can
can
I
you?
ask a question about that?
Sure.
Is that not occupied by the Yorkshire Trading Company? So
And
why is it on this list?
Just because it's
Half empty.
just basically it's 3/4 empty, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a prompt, really.
Yes, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
just in case there's any new news.
Do they have an appetite to share their space?
They
Never
do,
heard,
yes.
never heard of
They
it.
do.
Yeah.
They've been approached by a couple of people.
Okay, thank you.
Prospect House, Roger, can you recall what was said
I think
at the
that-
Hexham Hall?
Yeah, I think that it's been, I think units are being marketed in that, and that possibly the receivers enacted some works to bring the building over the finishing line, because it was 95% done when the
Right.
previous company went in administration.
Yes.
So I think that may hopefully be
Yeah.
resolving itself.
So hopefully we'll see light at the end of the tunnel on that one.
Do we pull that one now?
No, not yet. Not until it's sold. Abbey House, any news? Not that I'm aware of.
I finally saw the owner the other day. He lives upstairs. Yeah. Came out and handed
Who
it.
owns that house?
I don't know what his name was, but he was very
Yeah.
nice.
He's a
He came out the
proper
front
person.
door. Yes, he lives upstairs above it.
Does he?
Yes, and I thought I'll go and chat to him.
So the developer,
Random.
is it?
No, he lives there. He owns it and
Developer.
he lives there. Yeah, presumably. He was an older chap and
Mr. Hunter.
he likes living above it. It's weird. Yeah.
You need to go.
No, Martin and friend. And he came out of his front door and I thought, that's really strange. I've never seen that before. No, I never had a little chat.
That'll make a great community asset.
It would, wouldn't it?
Well, even if he wanted to develop it, for his own house, it's
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do. The old fire station. There was a further meeting of the councillors with. Well, it was just the councillors. Nothing really to report. It's steady away. Still waiting on clarification. They keep asking the golden slide as to what their intentions are. Nothing more I can't report.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I've been speaking to them today.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got an up-to-date business case,
Yeah.
which has additional numbers in it now and a timeline, and they are still crunching numbers in the magic sausage machine with the arts officer, Wendy Scott at NCC, and so that's almost ready to be submitted. Now once that's, so she's away this week, so hopefully it'll be next week, but the numbers are almost there, so they've been comparing it to projects around the country as well as Anthony's own work, how much it's brought to the economy, how many jobs, so that's all in there. I'll send that round, I'll send that to the clerk today for you to have a look. I think there's going to be an additional draft, but this is where we're at the moment. Anthony's team are keen to know how long it will then take after it's submitted. I mean, it's anyone's guess with NCC, but presumably the two cases will be weighed up against each other. I've asked, as Councillor Wright said, for an independent investment assessment, and we'll be angling for that again. And an issue came up with money, so we need evaluation of the site, what NCC want for the site as opposed to what Anthony Gormley is expecting to pay for the site, and hopefully those two things will align, because it was on the market, and presumably, according to the estates officer, they have got an evaluation on it, current evaluation, but that has not been shared with Gormley's team, but they have asked, they're going to ask this week, as well as a time plan for once everything's submitted. There's a lot of misinformation about this at the moment, mainly focusing on not just the money element, but also the storage element keeps coming up. Basically, if Anthony Gormley and the Foundation wanted to store items, they would buy a cargo container. They don't want a cargo container, they want the fire station and they want an architect to design it. So to my mind, that's the most rational counter, if you're hearing this argument around town at the moment, to that, because why would you not just store them simply like that? This is not a storage facility. As the business case reiterates again and again, the public relationship, the practical, the public-facing element, the public spaces, the exhibitions, is all in there. And the next step as well is, so the MP, as you suggested, is keen to talk to Gormley's team, so that will be happening this week as well. So that's what's in play at the moment.
Yeah, no, just following on from what you said, we brought this up, the hate stress obviously, at the meeting, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Nick Oliver's immediate response was, well, he just wants it as a storage facility. And until they come back to us with a more concrete proposal that's actually going to be open to the public or community use or whatever, then basically our depot is more important. That's more or less what he said.
That's what I heard.
So that is the part, is their line, is, that grabs the headlines, is Anthony Gormley just wants it for storage. So it's really, really important that his team
Yes, we've been talking about that because we have reached a kind of impasse at the moment. It's stagnant, so it needs another push, and that's what we're going to be trying to do. But it's either willfully ignorant or deliberate misinformation. I can't decide which one it is.
Probably both.
But we need another push, and the idea that the letter of support will then go to a petition for NCC is also in the pipeline as well. Is that the case? Yes. So the team are keen on that, because that will mean that the letter of support is then made digital into a petition format that lots of people can sign, and then it will come to the community partnership, the local area committee, if nowhere else, if we don't ask it to go anywhere else as well. So that is something that has been given the nod today and needs to continue. The success we have with the letter can only increase tenfold with a digital version, really. And we only need, is it 65 signatures for it to be heard at council with the officers and the public?
That's not right.
It's sort of played into their hands in a way. This he just wants it for storage. That's really played into that because it's given them such an easy, understandable way out.
Well, they all need to present the business case then in that case, and with highlights.
Yes, absolutely, really important. Yeah.
I think we've got to continue with the pressure. We've obviously been waiting for this document because it's really important that we're all very clear about what the ambitions of St Anthony Gormley and the studio and the foundation are. And now we're clear, we have got to now go on the offensive. So the MP asked the Chief for a meeting particularly about this issue with the Chief Executive of the County Council. I got no reply for a long time. The protocol is that you can't keep asking even though you're an MP, and the reply that he got was that we're going to discuss it with other matters at our quarterly meeting. So there's something going on at the County Council which is about stasis and about misinformation, because Nick Oliver stood up and said 14 months ago we were told it was for storage and we've been told nothing else. Now, I don't know, perhaps nobody has told Councillor Nick Oliver the details of it, but I suspect that that's not entirely true. But if they haven't told him, why not? So there's a block going on, and it's a block to the truth. I don't mind actually if we have a proper grown-up conversation about the situation that we're facing, i.e. that Anthony Gormley and the studio would like to do this, but perhaps Northumberland County Council's priorities are those. We can't have a proper grown-up conversation because the misinformation and ignorance and intractability that we are facing with the County Council means that we're talking two different languages, and I think it's appalling. And I've expressed this on many occasions because it actually is undemocratic, and that's what really makes me angry. So I think that we have to have our petition now, and now that we've got the go-ahead from the studio, we've got to reveal what is going on, because it's just an outrage.
Right, question, Penny. The petition.
Yes.
Who's going to be the
petitioner?
Who's going to be the petitioner? Do we need to have a think about this?
Yes, we had a discussion about whether, because there's a tension that I admit I've probably contributed to, but there's a tension between the Town Council and the County Council. Personally, and I think it might be useful to have a bit of a discussion about this, is that we also have another ambition, which is for Hexham to become an arts town. And so would that not be a most amazing contribution to our status as an arts town if we had the foundation, Anthony Gormley's foundation? So perhaps it should come through the Hexham Arts Town.
Yeah, I would. So, are you going to encourage them to get a petition out and then pass it to the Town Council, ask them to sign it?
I think we could enact that quite quickly. We've done some work on it already in terms of wording. Because obviously the Town Council is part of that initiative. So if that's what you'd like, and then we just share it everywhere, and it could be an electronic. Brilliant.
Question to you, Susan. The Gormley document,
yes,
which is a bit overdue, to be honest, will that be public information?
Yes, it will.
And can that go on our website? If we're wanting to share it around just amongst ourselves, this is the arguments to, I'd be quite transparent about it. The County Council wants to have it as a truck depot. We support this, and then produce the document, and then it becomes a matter of discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, so people can see it, so it's visible. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that once it's been submitted?
Yes, once it's the final it's in. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that's really useful.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Okay. Excellent. Right. Did you want to make some? You wanted to say a couple of things, didn't you? So I'll go to Mayor's announcement. So I'll bring you in now, Suzanne. You wanted to say a couple of things.
Oh yes. So thanks to lots of people, this council for one, the team at the council, especially Northumberland County Council, the children of the QE Arts Department, Steve Pardew, the artist in residence at Queen's Hall, he's Hexham based. The Holly Newton Memorial was installed on Thursday morning, and it was a low-key sort of unveiling by Michaela and Lee Tristler, and it was very beautiful. The children came down with their chapbooks that had contributed to the overall to the memorial itself, with the story in it that they've done in sort of pictorial, sort of symbolic form of things that she loved in her life, that Michaela and Lee had fed into with the artist, and the conversations we had about what we wanted it to look like. So Michaela very much wanted it to be a celebration and a joyful thing, and she wanted it in the alleyway where she died. And admittedly, I kind of worried about that. A few of us did, but I've seen it in situ there, and it lifts what was a scary pace for a lot of people who use it as a cut through, and lots of people have been down to see it. We've had overwhelming positive response to what it looks like and what it stands for, and genuinely I think it's definitely less a commemoration of memorial about how she died than how she lived, and it really, really does celebrate that, and it was quite powerful, and so go and see it. We're going to watch over it as much as we can, but hopefully, because it's owned by the town and the children, it will be safe and well respected and looked after. So please do see it. It's quite striking.
Okay. And you wrote to say something about Wombles?
Oh yeah, the Wombles, we're doing a little pick action for
Can I ask
that.
you a question on it going forward to?
Yes.
Obviously a lot of people work very hard on it, but these things potentially, whether it's St. Lawrence and anything, do get defaced. I'd like to think that the town council would take responsibility.
Stephen, we'll take that to the plan and infrastructure because it's on our assets, but that'll be a decision for councillors.
It's on our assets.
Yes, it is.
But that'll be for councillors to decide what happens if something unsightly happens.
It's available. It can be moved. That's part of what the remit of the article
But let's stop.
No, I'm
Just
not
conscious-
sitting all hairs running. I'm not sitting there running, but
No.
we must have, for me, when these things do happen, we have an immediate response. And if that can happen, that's good.
Yeah, but we're not going to preordain things. Right.
On the Wombles, 15th of November, but I think we've got it before then. So.
Right, so forthcoming events, so as the Forum Oscars on the 24th of October, Spook Night is on the 25th of October, Hexham's Fireworks is on the 8th of November, Christmas Lights on the 21st of November, Electric Dreams on the 29th of November. Any have I missed anything? So obviously we're coming into big event season now. Mayor's announcement, thank you. Mayor's announcements, very busy. I mentioned that we had some more, but I'll give you all the information alongside Councillor Roger Higgins, where we on the development side. So that was in. So we've got as much information as we could squeeze out of that. Tyne Valley Connections, I met with the small businesses who started what they call the Tyne Valley Connections, a breakfast club. So they started a few weeks ago. They asked me to go to their first meeting. I said it probably wasn't appropriate. I wanted them to meet themselves. Then I would come at a later one, which I did last week. So several local businesses having a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I met with them. I've agreed I would go back and just do a small presentation on what town council is and how we can support them. I've also suggested that in time they come here and do a presentation to us as well, just so we think. I really welcome the businesses getting together. It's always been a blind spot for the council as to who to speak to when it comes to the business. So I've always wanted to encourage that there be a single point we could go to. What they have done is they've written a small, I've asked them to write us an article, which they have done, which basically explains who they are, what they're doing, and I've said if the council is content, that we would promote that on our social media, because what they want to do is try and reach out to other small businesses so they can try and create a bigger community. Could I have support for that?
Yes.
Thank you. Barbara Spearman, who's chair of the Forum Cinema, invited me to a meeting. We catch up every so often. Really positive. They're doing really well. They're not yet at pre-COVID levels of attendance come profit. However, things are looking good. They're really content with our business plan. They have. I should give us a tour of they've got the new curtains in and various other things that they've done. So it's, I attend the cinema regularly, so I know many of you do as well, so you see what goes on. But positive, very positive. So I'm really pleased with that. The gear installation, I went to that with several councillors, so very impressive, bound to bring people to our town. And I think just going on to the point Councillor Penny Brennan raised was like the impact on our markets, with the shambles being shut. It's also customers coming to our town who may just not have come. They've had the best summer and we just haven't squeezed the best out of it due to that works. Attended alongside the other two county councillors, Queen Elizabeth High School, and met with the school council. Very entertaining. We had chats circulated between the groups. So the school council awarded them that badges as school council. So that was good outreach. So really enjoyed that. That is that. Penny, did you want to say something?
Yes, so you attended, I actually went as a deputy mayor, but you attended the Hexham Town Community Arts event at the library?
Yes. So is that the Hexham Arts? Yes, I've got that written down there. Right. Good. 12 to agree comes for payment. Flip through those, so that's page 1, page 2, page 3. Any questions or observations? Pretty content?
Is there any issues we should note?
No, nothing of note at the moment.
Thank you. We'll agree to that. Okay, is that agreed? Thank you. 13 to note the approved minutes of committee meetings, which is finance and general purposes of 9 July, page 1 and page 2. Planning and Infrastructure Committee of 2nd September, page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4, and Community Engagement page of the 17th of July, page 1, page 2, page 3. Any comments? Are we have to accept those? So our final item is to know correspondence received.
Just the usual now being used, chief executive bulletins, Northumberland CBA, rural bulletin, Christmas updates, and that's it.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Have we not had a community engagement committee meeting since the 17th of July?
Yes. But we took a decision that we only bring approved minutes to this meeting.
Oh, I did one. Yeah, thank you.
They're always like a month in. They're always like a 1 month in every year.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
I don't know if this is any other business, but we give a large sum of money to do the seal plate grant as such. And Councillor Green and I both agreed that it was worthwhile doing for such a large increase in our precept. This is one of the schemes that we can do really well and take credit for as a town council. We can do a scheme, a lesser scheme for 300,000 or a better scheme obviously for 500,000. Bearing in mind that there's a compound effect of the 15% increase over a period of time. I'm really keen that we do a great job and spend a lot of money on that play area, and I think it's worth having a broader open discussion of potentially how big that should be, and it might shock you whether we need to borrow money to to finish it off and do it properly. I think that's worth a discussion.
So we have a subcommittee of the playground, which is the likes of Tom, Roger, Faye, Mike, were you on it or not? No? So there's several people. I mean, if you want to join that, you're more than welcome to. So who are going to investigate? We've received tenders and the options available. The small work group is then going to go into the detail of what.
And they will bring a proposal to the men. That will read.
So you're more welcome to join that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next week, just a review
Yeah.
of the tenders we
After
get.
energy pay.
The only issue, Steve, is that we've got 8 play parks. If we do that one to that level, and all the other 7 we want to go to that level 2.
Well,
So we raise the rising boat in all the parks.
The broader discussion is whether we go for like 106 money.
Yeah.
But initially, when we had a look at it, the seal park was right at the top of the agenda, and it's just like fallen away a little bit. I appreciate there are other play parks, and I'd like to see other play parks within Hexham itself. But I think it's really important that if we're going to do something, rather than do it piecemeal.
Yeah, it hasn't fallen away. I think we've just been waiting for the tenders to come in, which are now
Absolutely,
there. So if you can stay after F&GP next week, and you can have a look at I think Andrew, you emailed most of them around, didn't you, as well?
I spoke to Andrew about it before, and
Yeah.
I'll come to the meeting and see how you progressed it.
It was interesting looking at the different quotes, the 150,000 and 300. There's actually not much difference, to be honest, in what you get, because you're limited by the size of the play park, really. And what certainly, when I looked at them, what seemed to be the case was they just tried to cram more in.
So I'm just asking a supplementary
Yeah.
is security then as bigger issue than actual equipment, because we can put it in and it could get ripped up again. So is security of the play park?
Maintenance is the key.
Maintenance and security.
Yeah.
And that they have discussed that in the tenders.
There's some we've known through history that certain ones, ones that have been placed in other parts of our parks, maintain them are much easier than others. In a way, the little Jeep at the Rocket Park is great, but you have to dig the whole bloody thing up to maintain it, which isn't great. So it's about not just getting what we want. It's about actually thinking how do we maintain that over the years as well. So really think long. Just not just think about one of those most shiny things. Think about actually how long they're going to last and how they're going to be maintained.
And they have addressed the way that the surface goes underneath, so it's not as easy to pull up. That's. Oh yeah. So the clerk just mentioned that the play zone at the Hexham Priory, next to the Hexham Priory, has been completed this week.
If they haven't done already, they're just about to put final paint down.
Excellent. That's great.
So that's gone really well.
Yeah. That just shows you how project management goes. Can be done. Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. So, good.